Part 1: The Arrival. It was a gloomy autumn evening when Sarah and David, a young couple seeking a fresh start, arrived at Hollowbrook Manor. The sprawling, centuries-old mansion nestled deep in the woods had been a family inheritance, and the couple had decided to move in despite the unsettling stories that shrouded the place. The trees loomed like sentinels, their branches twisting into grotesque shapes that seemed to reach out for them. The gravel driveway crunched under their tires as they approached the imposing mansion. It was a massive, ivy-covered structure with turrets that clawed at the sky. David, a rational man, tried to maintain his composure. "It's just an old house with a dark history, Sarah," he said, his voice trembling slightly. "People love to exaggerate these things." Sarah, gripping the steering wheel, couldn't help but feel a sense of foreboding. "I know, but there's something about this place that feels off." They stepped out of the car, and the air turned frigid. As they entered the grand foyer, the grand chandelier overhead flickered, casting eerie shadows on the intricate wallpaper. Sarah shivered, and David tried to distract her with a weak smile. "It just needs a little TLC, that's all." That night, they settled into their bedroom, which overlooked the overgrown garden. The wind whispered through the trees, and Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. She lay awake, listening to the creaks and groans of the old house, the sound of her own heartbeat echoing in her ears. Around midnight, the room turned icy cold. Sarah huddled under the covers, her breath visible in the frigid air. David, wrapped in his own blanket, muttered, "Must be a draft." But then, from the corner of the room, a soft, mournful whisper filled the air. "David! Sarah!" They both sat up in bed, their eyes wide with terror. The whisper grew louder, and a shadowy figure materialized in the moonlight. It was a woman in a tattered wedding dress, her hair disheveled, her face a mask of sorrow. Her eyes locked onto Sarah's, filled with an otherworldly anguish. David and Sarah clung to each other, paralyzed by fear. The ghostly figure slowly floated closer, reaching out her spectral hand. Just as her icy fingers brushed Sarah's skin, she let out a blood-curdling scream. The room plunged into darkness, and when the lights flickered back on, the ghost was gone. David and Sarah were left trembling, their hearts racing. It was then that they realized they were not alone in Hollowbrook Manor. They were trapped in a nightmare, and the malevolent force that haunted the mansion was far from imaginary. To be continued.